This video documents my restoration of the Hot Wheels Redline Mustang Stocker. This car was entered in the 32 car Mustang Challenge sponsored by the Custom Diecast Renegades and Hoodlums Facebook group earlier in December. My entry made it to the third round of the playoff bracket, losing to the eventual winner of the challenge. The Hot Wheels Redline Mustang Stocker was released in the 1975 Flying Colors series. This casting is a tool and die change of the 1971 Boss Hoss release. Most were offered in yellow enamel paint with orange and magenta tampo stripes down the roof and hood, but some were made with red and blue stripes. The rarest version was painted in white enamel with red and blue stripes. Here you can see evidence that this kid-painted Mustang Stocker was originally the rare white version. This will be confirmed once the car has been opened. I'll start the process by punching a center hole in the top of both posts so I can align it with my drill bit. Starting with a 1/16 inch diameter drill bit, the post will be drilled a short distance on center. I don't drill too deep at this step, as you need to make sure the post is well centered to the base, otherwise you risk drilling out the side of the post. For older Redline cars, I then switched to a 1/8 inch diameter drill bit to remove the rest of the mushroom post. Newer cars usually have much larger posts which require a different size drill bit. With the mushroom post heads removed, I can now use a small flat-bladed screwdriver to pry the base from the body. Sometimes this goes easy like this one, but it can be difficult at times. The inside of the base looks very clean, but it does have some paint and oxidation on the exterior which will need to be removed. The tires are worn out and will be replaced with a set from a donor Redline of the same era. Next I'll remove the interior and windshield. It's obvious this was an original rare white enamel version, as this car has not been opened in nearly 45 years. The interior is very dirty and the windshield is scratched and painted, but it doesn't have any visible cracks or damage. First, I'll start by hand filing down the post. This needs to be done to make sure it won't extend through the base, which would keep the screws from holding the body down tight. I don't use a Dremel for this step, as hand filing gives me more control. After filing down both posts, I'll test fit the body and base to make sure I've removed just enough material for a good fit. Next I'll move on to drilling out the post to accept the 3/16 inch long 172 button head screws. Sorry I moved a bit out of the frame while recording this step. After drilling out both posts, I add a drop of lightweight oil before tapping. Adding a lubricant is important as it keeps a tap from gumming up and produces a cleaner thread in the post. I use an unconventional technique when I tap. Rather than using a T-handle, I mount the tap in a small hand crank drill. It can be hard to hold in place at times, but once I got used to this method, I found it gives me good control when tapping very fine threads. After stripping the paint from the body, there is some oxidation where the paint had chipped. Since this is a restoration, I won't remove any of the original casting lines. Other than the oxidation, the casting is in good condition and doesn't need any bodywork. As the body will be painted with enamel, I'll just use a Scotch-Brite wheel on my Dremel tool to clean up the surface before priming and painting. Make sure to use eye protection when using power tools. Here's what the body looks like after priming and adding a couple coats of white gloss enamel. Although the body will eventually be clear coated to seal in the decals, a gloss painted surface works much better for applying water slides. I created my own decals as I'm not happy with the ones available for sale. Here's what the body looks like after applying a few coats of Testors Clear. While the paint dries, I'll move on to cleaning up the windshield. As you can see, some of the blue paint got on the glass. Once the paint has been removed and the plastic cleaned, I can get a good look at the surface. It's scratched up but does not appear to be cracked or damaged, so I'll be able to polish this and get it looking new again. I'll start by wet sanding out the scratches with 1000 grit sandpaper. You don't really need to go any finer than this, as the polishing compound will easily remove the fine sanding marks. The compound I use is Novus No. 2 Fine Scratch Remover. A 2-ounce bottle will last a very long time. Using a Q-tip cotton bud, I rub a generous amount on the surface that I want to polish. Then I use a soft cotton wheel on my Dremel tool to complete the polishing. The key is to keep it moving, as you don't want to build up heat. Most of the time I've found you don't need to use floor shine to make the surface any better. Unless there were deep pits or scratches to begin with, most Redline glass can be restored without adding anything to the surface. Last we'll tackle the interior. Although it looks like crap, this will clean up very nicely just using dish soap and an old toothbrush under warm running water. Although I didn't get any footage of the base, this is what it looks like after removing the oxidation and polishing with flits and a wire wheel. Here's a few final close-up photos before looking at the car on the rotating stand. The wheels came off a Redline Warpath and were just cleaned with some minor touch-up using a Molotow chrome pen. We've come to the end of 2019, and I want to thank all of my subscribers. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please click like and subscribe, and as always, thanks for watching.